Today we'll be taking a look at the two core 40k start collecting sets, No Fear and Dark Imperium. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy and tactics focused 40k channel where we're all about getting the most out of our miniatures on the tabletop, and in videos like this we're all about getting the most miniatures on the tabletop for the lowest price in the first place. Now for starting a moderate sized Warhammer collection at a reasonable price, Games Workshop has two different sets that are essentially Space Marines versus Death Guard. Dark Imperium was the first one they released, right at the start of 8th edition, and this one really is a complete starting kit. You get two very sizable armies for the amount of money that you pay for them, at least compared with other Games Workshop products, and you also get the mighty core rulebook tome included in that price. I believe No Fear came out very slightly later, and it's sort of like a slimmed down copy of Dark Imperium, where the focus is more on the models. You don't get the enormous book, but it is around half the price. Both of these sets are some of the best valued products that Games Workshop puts out at the moment. I think they're primarily designed to help people get into the hobby relatively easily for a lower price than they would be able to with virtually any other models that Games Workshop sells at the moment. I think that it's certainly a good move on Games Workshop's part to try and at least make there be one fairly decent value route for getting into Warhammer 40k. It is an expensive hobby after all, and it is genuinely a massive barrier to entry when people think how much money they might be spending on a few small kits of Space Marines, for example. By having very big value kits like this, they'll genuinely tempt quite a lot of people to at least try 40k. I'm sure plenty might stay to become full-on collectors of one of these armies or something else. I'm certainly a fan of this hobby growing as big as it can, so I do like to see it when Games Workshop makes good value miniature kits like this. And as veterans of the hobby, it's great to be able to use these sort of kits to get your hands on some miniatures that you'd like for a fair bit cheaper than they'd normally be available. All that being said, let's take a look at the exact contents of both of these kits, and which one I'd prefer and why. Let's start out with No Fear then. This one is the smaller box. It'll cost you £50 in the UK, or $80 in the US, and the cheapest normal way to get hold of it is through a third-party retailer that stocks Games Workshop products for a discount, such as Element Games in the UK, which if you are interested in buying any Warhammer products I thoroughly recommend. I've got a link in the description of the channel, and if you click through that and buy anything through them, then some of the money from that purchase goes to support the channel, without costing you any extra. They've always been reliable for me anyway. I tend to buy most of my Warhammer through these third-party retailers, as they usually give you a 20% discount, and as it's an already expensive hobby, I like to save a bit of money where I can. All that aside, what does your £42 get you? You have two armies, Space Marines and Death Guard. For the Primaris Space Marines, you get a Gravis Captain, 5 Hellblasters, 5 Intercessors, and 3 Inceptors with Assault Bolters. That equates to approximately 450 points worth of Space Marines, so it's a really decent start towards getting an army together, and actually gets you far more points on the table than a lot of the start collecting boxes do, even though in this set you also get a Death Guard army too. The value really can't be understated here compared with their other products. For the Death Guard, you get a Lord of Contagion, 5 Plague Marines, 10 Poxwalkers, and a Bloat Drone. Approximately 380 points worth of Death Guard there, and again a very solid start towards a Death Guard collection. In terms of the usability of the models, generally all the Space Marines are very usable in-game. There's no out-and-out bad units there, and certainly the Intercessors are an absolute core unit that make it all the way to the top-tier competitive Space Marine lists. Death Guard again gets you both of their unique troop choices. The Lord of Contagion is a decent melee threat in close combat, and the Bloat Drone is certainly not bad either. It is worth noting that all of these are the monopose versions of the kits, so you won't have any options in terms of war gear, unless you do some converting work and swap out some guns with different bits from your bits box. It's also worth noting that the No Fear box set has coloured sprues, where the Space Marines are blue and the Death Guard are their signature greeny colour. Some people don't particularly like coloured sprues for painting. I tend to find it doesn't really make too much difference for me personally, as I tend to undercoat everything before painting anyway, and I've had a bunch of these paint up just fine. As well as these two fairly sizable armies, you also get a bunch of gaming materials. You have a 96-page mini rulebook, which gives you the basics for how to play a bunch of simple missions from Warhammer 40k, the core rules, and some painting and background on the armies. It's certainly a good option for getting people started in the game. Though if you are looking to progress and collect Warhammer 40k a bit more broadly, you will still need one of the larger rulebooks for actual games, whether that's the big rulebook that they sell separately, or the more recent Rules edition that they sell. That's a bit more slimline, but also includes some expansions for the game. Interestingly, they have some scenery and a gaming mat. The gaming mat is a 43 by 22 inch paper creation with some nice terrain details printed on it. The size is more designed for this start collecting sort of box rather than full-blown massive games of 40k, but it's certainly a nice detail. You also get an interesting looking cardboard bunker that you can put on the game board to maybe create a little bit of line of sight blocking terrain, so that some of your models have things to hide behind on this big open expanse, though admittedly it is only one cardboard box in the middle of a printed battle mat, so it's not exactly the most impressive thing in the world. Still, I think it was quite clever, and it's certainly a fun little addition. Finally, you also get a 12-inch range ruler for measuring ranges, and a set of transfers for the Primaris Space Marines. Overall, at least compared with the other start collecting boxes that they have out there, this is an absolutely fantastic deal, and it's a very cheap way to get 2 functioning forces on the table to allow you to play games of 40k with a friend for just over £20 a head. So how does it stack up with Dark Imperium then? Dark Imperium is the slightly more complete starter box, but it does cost around double the price. It'll be £95 in the UK, or £80.75 from Element Games or another discount retailer. In the USA, it's $160, so it is actually double the price of No Fear, strangely enough. So the question is, will that double the price tag be worth all the additional stuff in the box? Firstly, you do get additional miniatures in this. The Space Marines have everything mentioned above, plus 5 intercessors, 2 Primaris lieutenants, and a chapter ancient with a cool banner. As I've already mentioned, intercessors are a great core troops choice, so you're always going to be wanting more of them in my opinion. The lieutenants are nice, although they do look a little bit plain, and aren't all that much distinguishable from the standard intercessors. The Ancient, however, is a really lovely model, and I very much enjoyed painting mine up. On the Death Guard side, you get an additional 2 Plague Marines, 10 Poxwalkers, and 2 special characters, a Malignant Plague Caster to get some plague spells on the go, and a Noxious Blightbringer, who can give some movement buffs to the Death Guard. In terms of just the models alone, I don't feel that you quite get double the quantity here. Particularly for the Space Marines, you only get 1 extra proper squad, plus a few characters. Although it's a bit better for the Death Guard, getting an extra squad, an extra couple of models in a squad, and then 2 extra characters. The Noxious Blightbringer I don't believe can actually be bought elsewhere besides Dark Imperium. Nor can the Malignant Plague Caster, nor the Primaris Ancient, so you do get some unique models that you can't get anywhere else at the moment. Whether or not that's enough of a draw for you though is another matter. It's in terms of the extras that Dark Imperium really has its value, in that you get the actual big Warhammer 40k core rulebook included. Now this one's an interesting one in terms of how much value this really adds. If you bought the core rulebook straight from Games Workshop, then it would be £35, so it seems like a bit of a no-brainer on the face of it. However, if you go to eBay and search for the exact same big rulebook, get it as cheaply as £15 including delivery, at least within the UK, which makes it seem not quite as big of a deal to have it included in the box. Personally, if I was starting Warhammer 40k, I would want to have the core rulebook available to me at least in some form, and Dark Imperium is certainly a very good value way to get it, alongside the other boxes, but I would weigh it up against the No Fear box set, and buying the rulebook for people who are selling the new rulebook individually, literally from breaking down this kit. As well as this, you do get another couple of interesting extras. You have mini codexes for the Primaris Space Marines and the Death Guard. They certainly aren't complete books for the rest of the army, but they'll let you use all of the miniatures that you have here straight away. You also get 12 dice that you don't get in No Fear, which is certainly a positive for actually being able to play games straight away, although bear in mind that dice can be bought very cheaply over the internet, so shouldn't really be the biggest decider in whether or not you buy this kit. You don't get the battle mat and the little bunker thing that come in No Fear, but you still do get the range ruler and the transfers. So overall, which is better? Personally, I'm going to come down and say No Fear is better value than Dark Imperium, at least for me in the UK, where I can buy the big rulebook very cheaply somewhere else. For me, the additional characters and units that you get from Dark Imperium just don't quite justify spending double the price, unless I was absolutely desperate to get some of the unique models that only come in this box. I think I'd be much more tempted to pick up No Fear and just buy the big rulebook separately, than shell out for the full Dark Imperium price. I don't really see the mini codexes, the dice, and the battle mat and cardboard bunker box as real factors in whether I'd buy one or the other. They're certainly nice to haves, but in general I'd be wanting to play games on proper gaming tables in a local gaming shop, so I don't think I'd use the battle mat very often. and I'd be quite tempted to actually pick up the main codex for the army that I was playing instead of just using the mini codexes. The dice are nice to have, but you can certainly buy dice from all manner of sources, particularly over the internet in large quantities for very cheap. If you are literally comparing the two, then you could pretty much buy 2 No Fear boxes for the price of 1 Dark Imperium. If you're looking at collecting the Space Marines from that, you could have 2 Gravis Captains, 10 Hellblasters, 10 Intercessors and 6 Inceptors, which is already getting on to be a very sizable army. And I am actually thinking about picking up another copy of No Fear to further flesh out my Primaris Space Marines collection. If you do have the option of splitting the contents with someone else, then it certainly makes sense if one of you is up for collecting Death Guard, or you know a Chaos player who would like to have the additional models, then that can be a very good way of paying for just the models that you want in the box. But if not, then there's always the option of trying to resell the sprues that you don't want if you're not a fan of collecting both armies, and you could either resell the unused Chaos or Primaris locally or via eBay. Overall though, I do think that both of these boxes offer absolutely fantastic value for money, at least compared with the other Games Workshop products that you might buy instead, and I'm glad that they exist for new players and for the expanding collections of veteran players alike. Let me know in the comments if I've missed any important factors when discerning between these two, or which one of these you chose and why. It'd be good to get any additional opinions. Feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics for more videos like this every day, mainly focused on the in-game tactics of playing Warhammer 40K, but we do occasional buying advice videos like this. Again, if you're interested in buying any 40K models in the UK in the near future, my Element Games link is in the description below, where you can get models at a discount delivered to your door, and a little money goes to supporting the channel, while costing you no extra at all. Again, thanks very much for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.